Hello students, what are transition metals or transition elements? So here is a myth buster. Certain elements are considered to be transition metals, certain elements are not considered to be transition metals. Here I just want to take you the confusion of these transition metals. Here what are transition metals? The transition metals are the elements which has unavailable. The transition metals are the elements which has vacant d orbitals either in the ground state or in any stable oxidation state. Such elements are called transition elements. In the periodic table, if we see in the periodic table, these are S block elements, these are P block elements, and here D block elements. Here the actual confusion lies. So we can take this scandium to zinc is said to be D block elements. Yes, all transition elements are nothing but D block elements, but when you see here, up to here, scandium to copper are considered to be transition metals because they have vacant d orbitals either in the ground state or in any stable oxidation state. When it is talking about the zinc, cadmium, mercury, they are not considered to be transition metals. Why so? Let us see the electronic configuration of these transition metals. You can say scandium D1 and titanium D2 and vanadium D3, chromium D5, exceptional electronic configuration, manganese D5 and iron D6, cobalt D7, nickel D8, and copper, again it is an exceptional electronic configuration. Here zinc is 3D10. Now, what is the general electronic configuration of transition metals? They are going to have Ns 0 to 2 and N minus 1 D 1 to 10. So, they should have unavailable, unfilled d orbitals. So, when you check this any element, let us talk about the manganese. Manganese in the ground state, you are going to see D5 electronic configuration, d orbital is incompletely filled. While you can say manganese 2 plus, even in this manganese 2 plus, you are going to see D5 configuration. But when it comes to zinc, what is the scenario? Is zinc is considered as a transition metal? That's a big question. Yes, it is going to be an assertion reason type question. Even in the NEET examination, you can see, of course, zinc is not at all a transition metal because it has no vacant d orbitals even in the ground state, even in the stable oxidation state. If you see zinc, it is D10 completely filled d orbitals and it has no vacancy. If you take zinc 2 plus, most of the compounds zinc is having zinc 2 plus, it is having D10 configuration. So even this don't have any vacant d orbital. Therefore, I can say zinc is not considered to be a transition metal. Now, we learned a bit of concept and we will be learning how the question will come. Now, here is the question. Here, which element in the fourth period of the periodic table in the D block is not a transition metal when considered the electronic configuration? You have given chromium, scandium, copper, zinc and iron. I want to give 5 options, doesn't matter. If you take the transition metal definition, it should have vacant d orbital even in the ground state, even in the stable oxidation state. Let us take scandium. If you consider, it has D1 incompletely filled d orbital, so it's a transition metal. Chromium, it is going to have D5, still it has a vacant d orbital. When you talk about the iron, it is having a D6 configuration at ground state, and you can take copper, that is a big question here. At ground state it is having a D10, but according to the definition it should have a vacant d orbital even in the stable oxidation state. If when you talk about the copper 2 plus, take a copper sulfate is a stable compound, it is copper 2 plus, it has a D9 configuration, therefore copper is a transition metal. When you talk about the zinc, it is completely having D10 configuration in the atomic state, or a zinc 2 plus, it is going to have a D10 configuration. Therefore, my option for this question is going to be zinc is not considered to be a transition metal. So, when you answer a NEET examination question, you have to analyze every option and you just firmly stick to the given question with a confident answer. Hope you like this session and please share this session with your friends and subscribe to Infinity Learn NEET YouTube channel. Thank you.